Hey guys, welcome to this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to be doing some more engine part cleaning. Mostly a lot more of the gasket surfaces that are going to be from a couple of other areas of the engine. Possibly by the end of this vlog we will be cleaning the actual block itself, and well, the block's not looking too healthy right now. But with me today I have our plenum and the actual intake assembly, and those actually look a lot worse than the heads did. There's some gasket remnants left on some of these parts, and we definitely have to clean these up somewhat, so we're going to be doing that here. But I also want to give you guys a quick update as far as just the overall progress on getting the Aztek engine rebuilt. So I've been off of work this entire week. This was my vacation week, and this is actually Friday, so my vacation week has pretty much come to an end. But I started doing a lot of these parts cleaning and stuff at the beginning of the week with the heads and such. We did the heads earlier this week, and well, I didn't really get everything back together like I was hoping. But there's always there's always hiccups that are along the way. So right now I don't have the heads with me. The heads themselves are actually with my friend who is working with getting the broken exhaust studs out of them. He's drilling them out and possibly retapping the holes that are there. I think there were only 3 studs that broke off, and the one stud just wouldn't budge, so he's gonna cut that stud completely flush and then have to drill it out. So altogether I have 4 studs that I need worked on. But you saw the last vlog where we did a lot of the sanding of the block and stuff. We cleaned it up pretty good, and once I get those back, I just have to lap the valves, put the springs and stuff back in, get all the valves in order. And I guess the big news today is I ordered like $400 worth of parts today for the Aztek, and then I cried shortly after. So today I ordered 2 new exhaust manifold kits, and I just decided to break down and order the new kits because the kits not only come with shiny new exhaust manifolds, but you also get the heat shields, which I have had no luck finding at all. Called all of these local junkyards to see if I could just pull these exhaust shields from the exhaust systems on the engines, and they don't have the engines to spare me. They don't have any of the parts, so I just figured, why not? So we ordered those because you get the heat shields and you get all the studs, brand new studs and stuff that you need. So yeah, we ordered the front and the rear exhaust manifold assemblies, and that was probably a nice bulk of the $400 that I said that we have added to our Aztek spending. But I also ordered, bees are coming back, I also ordered a this one really hurt, the Egr Valve Tube, and that was the tube that sits on the back exhaust manifold, and it goes up to the Egr valve, which is on the plenum. Now, I destroyed this Egr tube by accident when I was trying to originally get the shield off of the back exhaust manifold when the heads were still on the engine. So it's over time they become very fragile, and if you end up bending them the wrong way, they will crack and tear, and that's pretty much what happened to this one. So just ended up destroying it. Part of it is actually still stuck on the old exhaust manifold, which is still inside of the Aztek's cabin, but I don't have to worry about actually getting the rest of it out now because, well, we're getting a whole new exhaust manifold. So we have to add that to the list, and that thing was a lot more expensive than I thought. It was like $80 some for this little tube. Amazing and disgusting at the same time. Aside from that, I ordered we're going to be getting an all new oxygen sensor for that same exact manifold. I had to practically destroy the one that was on there until I got the right tool to take it off, and then I got it out, but I had already destroyed it. Chances are I was going to replace it anyway, because when the Aztek is running, a service engine light is on intermittently, and whether that's going to fix it or not, probably not. But I think we'll slowly kind of replace these sensors and stuff as we're rebuilding. So if it happens to be the original O2 sensor, and it may have been, you know, that could have something to do with it. So we just went ahead, got a brand new O2 sensor, and surprisingly, though, that wasn't all that cheap either. I'm kind of surprised at how much that was. Also ordered the oil cooler tube, and hopefully it's the right one. Apparently there were a couple of different styles that we looked up on the computer, and went ahead and just ordered the one. If it's not right, of course I could take it back and exchange it, but the picture seemed to be correct. The oil cooler tube goes from one of the cooling lines to the oil filter assembly, and apparently I guess only the GT models had those, because the GT model included well, I guess it was more of like a trailer tow thing, I'm not sure, but since my Aztek has the suspension package with the rear air suspension, which we're going to work on that at some point in the future, but has the air suspension, and in that package you get the oil cooler, I guess. So I had to get that, and wasn't sure if I was going to replace it or not, but it just looks really flimsy. It looks bad. Not even sure if I'm going to be able to get it off in one piece. So that's going to be on its way too. We're going to have that here. And I think the last things that I decided to purchase, we did the all new spark plugs, since, you know, we'll probably put those in the heads before we put the heads back on the engine, so we'll need the spark plug. Did you guys see that? Anyway, so we'll probably put the spark plugs in before the actual heads go back on, and then not only did I get the spark plugs, but I got the wires. So hopefully by next week I will have the bottom half of this engine reassembled. Now I don't remember if I had to replace anything else other than, well, the exhaust manifolds and the EGR tube and the O2 sensor. Offhand right now I can't remember if there was something else I had to replace at that end. I won't know until I start putting it back together, so we'll see what kind of progress is made there. But needless to say, I'm excited, but I'm also very depressed that I just spent $400 today on all this stuff. That's not even the last of it. I know there's stuff I have to replace as we work up toward the top of the engine. This thing better run. Enough about that. That's my update for you guys. So soon, hopefully very soon, we will be documenting the rebirth of my 01 Aztek. But now, let's talk about these parts that we gotta sand here. So this is our plenum. As you can see, we sanded the plenum down, you know, a couple of vlogs ago, a little more than a couple, but this looked really disgusting after I tore it all apart, and you know, there was grease marks, and it just didn't look right. It looked kind of gross. So I sanded it down and kind of gave it its original shine back in a way. I couldn't really get these crevices here, only because I was using the sanding block, and I don't have any kind of Dremel tool or anything to get in there, but I'm okay with the way it looks. It looks a lot better than it did. So yeah, there's that. Oh, there's a bolt here, we can't lose that. That's from the intake body. It must have fell out when I flipped it over. I'll have to show you guys what that looks like here in a little bit. So if we flip this over, you can see those are our ports going to the intake, and we still have some marks on them. You can see where the leftover gasket residue and stuff is. So just like I did with the heads, we're just going to take the sandpaper and sand them off. While I'm at it, I'm going to take these two bolts out and I'm going to sand this area down too. This is where our throttle body connects. So yeah, we're going to clean this one up as well. That way it'll be ready for the throttle body when it comes time to reinstall that. We're going to clean the throttle body also, but I'm not doing that today. And here's the intake. This is the underside of our intake, and it is grody. Honestly, I could probably use that brake dust cleaner that I was using on the heads for this, because this is also aluminum. The only problem is the fuel injectors are still in. We also have these wiring harnesses here, and I don't really want to mess with taking any of those off. And in order for me to actually rinse all this stuff off, I need water. So I'm not going to do that, unfortunately. But maybe once the additives are in the oil and in the fuel system, maybe over time it'll clean itself up, but maybe not. I'm not sure. I think this is still the oil sludge, possibly. But anyway, so there are a lot of gasket surfaces on this part here alone that we have to make sure are cleaned up and ready for reassembly. For example, these are all of the intake ports that go onto the heads, and we're going to really have to clean this off. You can see where gaskets were. We also have this area here, and these are where the valve covers are going, right around this area. So these have to be completely cleaned. We have some leftover sealant here. This is where this part here meets the block, I think. So you can see how this is coming off. It's not coming off too bad, but we're going to have some of this stuff left over, and we can't have any of that on there at all. It's on this side also. See this? Yeah. So I got my little blade. Not the best blade that I have, but it'll maybe do the trick. And likewise, on this side we also have the intake ports and where our valve covers are going to meet. If we turn this over carefully to the top, this is the actual plenum side. So these go here, and part of our actual one of our intake gaskets have actually broken off on these ports, which has surprised me because these actually looked like they were newer gaskets when I took them off, but they are flaky, and I'm not gonna probably be able to peel them off like this. I'm gonna have to use the knife for sure on this one, or the blade. So we gotta make sure that that is also in good order for the plenum's sake, but we have to really make sure that the underside of this is good for our other intake and valve cover gaskets. So I feel like I'm just going to start with the plenum first because it's not as bad. And of course it's later in the day because it's not as hot, so eventually I'm going to be losing the sun. And, well, if I don't end up getting this one done today, I can do it tomorrow. But I'm pretty sure I can knock that one out in a matter of minutes. So, I have our 180 grit sanding block. This is the same block that I was using for the heads. And that should take care of this just fine, like it did the heads. So, let's get started. Cue the music. Okay. I don't know how much of a difference you're going to see on the screen from this angle, but you can tell that they have a nice little shine to them now. Better than they did. Much more better than they did, actually. And just like the heads, we have some dark spots here, but it doesn't really feel like anything is going to be in the way of, you know, keeping the gaskets from sticking to the surface. It's all pretty smooth. Yeah, it seems to be pretty good. So I think we're done with the intake side of the plenum. We'll take these two bolts out here. Okay, and now we'll just sand away. See how it looks? We'll just sand away. Okay. And there we go. Looks a lot better. Still the dark spots. Can't feel anything. Seems to be pretty smooth. Alright, I think we're good there. Alright, so I'm going to start with the actual top side of the intake, where the plenum meets the intake. And it's going to be kind of a challenge because of all of these other components on here. So I'm probably going to have to take some of these pieces back off. I just had them on here so they wouldn't get lost when I disassembled everything months ago. These two bolts off. This little rail here. These broken wire harnesses. Okay, so like I said, this one has actual gaskets still stuck to it, so we're gonna have to use try to use our blade, see if we can get those off. Very carefully, of course. Alright, so the blade actually took those off fairly easy. I'm kind of surprised. The little bit of remnants that's still stuck on there, not really stuck, but you know, there's like little leftover markings. I'm assuming the sandpaper will take that up okay. So I guess I'll start back here and we'll see how this goes. Okay, I actually think this feels really good compared to, well, definitely how it felt before. It looks better. It looks a lot better. You can definitely see a difference in these ports, how they look, even compared to what they looked like before. They're definitely much shinier. Typical black, you know, stuff on them, but very smooth. I think we're not going to have any problems. Seems to be okay. Look at this fuel rail. Look how gross this is. I don't know. I'm probably not going to clean that up. This is going to be a nightmare. That stuff was gross. Probably the best that I'm going to get it with just the blade. Let's take a crack at doing the sanding and see well that'll hold. That is much nicer. That is way nicer than it was. You can even see the shine on it from here. Now this side, well, yeah, it looks grody. Let's try and take care of that side now. Alright, that actually cleaned up better than, or easier than I thought it was going to be cleaned up. Sweet. Well guys, it seems as though my battery is getting ready to die. So I guess I'm just gonna have to wrap up the video portion of this for today, but I'll continue to clean this up, so then that way we will jump onto the cleaning of the actual block, which is going to be probably more of a challenge than any of this has been. But look at how nice these ports look already. This all looks fantastic compared to how it was. So, yeah. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so it's another day. And it's getting a little bit later again. It was like 92 today. I don't know what the deal is with all the heat all of a sudden. But right now, it's the second day of September, right? Second day? Yes, it's the second day of September, and yeah, summer's going to be over before you know it, and I was really hoping to have this thing running by the end of summer, but maybe it will be, because, you know, technically, fall doesn't start until the middle of September, so we've been making progress on many parts to this car. I got some other parts ordered that should be here at this point. It should be here in 2 days, so that'll get us working on at least the engine part of it. So yeah, the other day, as you just saw, you know, we sanded down a lot of our other gasket areas, and a huge gasket area that we are going to do today is, of course, the surface areas, gasket surfaces of the block, which is a very, very important surface to have a gasket on, hence the head gasket. So the block is not in good health at the moment. It's been sitting like this for months because of all of the delays that we've had to endure during this teardown process. So yeah, originally I did not want it to turn out like this. I know it's in bad physical shape, and there's, you know, so many things that I did to this that I kind of wish I didn't do now, because I didn't know it was going to take this long to get all these parts and put everything back together. The car has had no oil in it. There's been no oil in this block at all since I drained it out. And the only reason why I drained it out is because I thought I was going to have to take this dipstick tube off from what I was reading, but it turns out I didn't have to, so I drained the oil for nothing. As you can see, there's nothing there. A little bit of stuff at the bottom of that. So yeah. So hopefully the internals in the crankcase and the crankshaft and all of the cams and stuff, hopefully they're okay in there. Hopefully there's enough, what, you know, resin left or whatever. So yeah, but there's also coolant in the passages still. You can see we got some surface rust here, and I saw a trick on YouTube that I'm going to try, involving my drill and this wire wheel, and hopefully it works. It looked like it did the trick in the video, but I got to be very careful. And as far as the rest of this, you know, we still have some stuff that we have to scrape or pick off of here. Same with the back. You know, we're just going to use our blade, and I also, where is it? Okay, I don't know where I put it. I probably left it on my porch. But I have a pick, and we're going to kind of try to pick around these jackets, try to get some more gook out. I did one already. I kind of did one of these two just to see how well the pick would work, and we pulled a pretty decent size of gook out of there. And we don't want any more of that. I know there's still going to be a lot of that at the bottom of the engine, and well, like I said, we're not really doing anything with the inside of the block, so hopefully once I get some, you know, oil in there, and I might try to find a way to get some oil in there. I'm not sure where the oil actually goes when you dump it into the valve cover. I don't know exactly how it seeps into the block, so I might try to find a way to kind of pour it down the tube slowly, at least get some oil in there. I bought a quart because I was thinking once I clean this up, I might want to put some just some oil around these cylinder walls to keep it from doing this again. But the way it looks now, I may actually be able to get the heads on within a week's time, maybe a week and a half. So at least get the heads on, and then I won't have to worry about the rust appearing down there. And then I could probably pour the remaining amount of oil in there. That way everything will be sitting in the oil, and hopefully soon after we'll have it running. Okay, so this is probably going to take some time to do all this. One of the first things we want to do, I don't know if you can see them on the screen or not, but right here and right here, as well as on the other side here and here, those are guide pins for the head gaskets themselves, and those will come out. So what we want to do, oh, here's my regular pliers, I'll use these instead. We just want to carefully take some pliers and carefully pull those up out of the head. We're going to pick some of the gook out of these cavities. Gook. Okay, so I'm going to start sanding now. For this particular task. I have read and seen videos online where everybody seems to use 80 grit sandpaper, which is more coarse than the sandpaper I was using for the heads and such. But since it does seem like it's a pretty aggressive here, it seems like it might be much more appropriate for the job. So I think we are going to do the 80 grit instead of the 180. And, hopefully we won't have any issues. A lot of stuff on the side of this, down here at least. Hopefully not being able to get these pins out isn't really going to be too bad of a hindrance as far as sealing up that area there. It might be alright. Got some stuff off of it anyway. Especially since we sprayed the WD-40, it's probably kind of cleaning up pretty decently. Okay, same thing as the heads and as the intake and all that stuff. I'm not going to scrape or sand very hard. I'm just going to kind of graze over it until it looks like it's not dirty or rough anymore. Alright, so we're making a little bit of progress. It's definitely a lot more challenging with all of the stuff that you got to work around and those pins not coming out. So I might have to actually try to find a piece of sandpaper that's not the block and then try to actually work around there a little with a little more flexibility. But I managed to get a lot of the stuff. This side's a little harder because of the water pump, but there's still some grime there that I'll have to work with. The rest of this is actually starting to feel pretty good. Down here, still have a little bit of rough spots down here I'm going to have to work with. I think that might just be grease. Over here definitely. But it's coming along fairly well. I do, however, want to take a break from that, and I'm going to do the. We're going to try to suck some of the antifreeze out of it. Now I am using a 9-gallon rigid wet dry vac with a wet filter on this. I didn't want to obviously take the chance of having the coolant actually make its way into the vacuum motor, but we should be okay. So I'm going to just kind of run it along here, try to suck anything out. Hopefully we get some stuff out. I'm also going to put the vacuum into the 3-cylinder chambers up front because I want to get all the debris and stuff out of there real quick, and then I want to try the metal wheel thing to see if that'll take care of our slight rust problem on the inside of these cylinders. Let's begin. Okay, so we got some out. I wasn't expecting to get all of it out, and it's all open, so it's tough to even really get down in there. But I just wanted to run the vacuum across the ports to maybe get any of the excess crud, maybe try and suck that out. And let's do the wire wheel test now. Okay, so I'm going to start off with number 6, just because for the video you can see it's right now the deepest piston that's sitting on the engine in the front, and you can see it's actually the worst because it has more rust compared to the other ones. So what I have here is a 3-inch steel wheel, wire wheel. I just bought it, it's brand new. And I got the 3-inch because I measured wall to wall on the inside of the cylinder, and it's about 3.5 inches, and they didn't have a 3.5-inch wheel. So there's going to be play in it, and we'll just have to be you know, extremely careful when it comes to this. You don't want to end up gouging the cylinder walls with this wire wheel. So I'll probably just take it, I'll use 2 hands, and we'll just kind of guide it as it spins. You know, we'll go like up and down with it, and then, you know, around the sides, and just carefully do that. We're also going to use WD-40. We don't want to do this dry. The WD-40, since it's a penetrant, will also help clean, you know, get rid of that rust. And then once it's done, we'll take a rag and wipe it out, and it should look pretty good from what I've seen. Of course, it's at a really weird angle. Okay, that should be good enough. And here we go. Took off some of the carbon off the piston too, right around the edge of the piston. Wow, it actually cleaned up the piston pretty good too. I'm really surprised. Huh. The nice thing is, since it's WD-40, the rust shouldn't come back even if I didn't cover it up. Now check this out. That's something. Might be a little tiny bit there. I'll probably have to maybe go over that spot a little bit, but look, for the most part it looks really good, and like I said, it cleaned up that piston nicely. I wasn't really concerned about that, but that'll help when it comes time to actually get it to run. No way. Alright, so here's the end result so far. I'm not really done with it. There's no point in me documenting, you know, continuing to work on it. But for the most part, you know, I got both sides sanded down. I vacuumed out this other port, all these other ports here, and cleaned out the rust in these cylinders also. And these pistons also cleaned up somewhat. It's a little harder to see because of the angles, them being toward the back and all. But we picked out some goop, and it was a little bit easier with the vacuum hose next to this. That way it kind of caught it, and kind of wish I'd done that with the front, but oh well. Either way, I think these are looking way better than they did, and I'll just have to spend a little more time on them, maybe tomorrow, yeah, so I think I'm just going to wrap this up. I have the valves and stuff soaking in some cleaning stuff, and we're gonna save that for, well, a vlog coming real soon. So yeah, I think that's it. If you guys enjoyed this vlog, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Also check out teespring.com/store/Mike's Vehicle Spotlight for all of your MVS and vlog merchandise. You can also look at said merchandise down below this video underneath the description of this vlog. So that's it, guys. One step closer to getting it running. I'm getting excited now. I think we're gonna get it running, or at least we're definitely gonna have it put back together here real soon, and hopefully we'll have it running before fall. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.